The scream came from somewhere ahead on the road, thin, stretched, and instantly swallowed by the snow. I lifted my foot off the accelerator without realizing it. The car continued rolling, tires crunching softly, the headlights cutting two pale tunnels through the storm. Midnight. Christmas Eve. No houses. No lights. Just pine trees bending under white weight, watching. I told myself it was the wind. Then I heard it again. Not a scream this time. A voice. Low. Close. Inside the car. Don't stop. My hands clenched the steering wheel so hard my fingers ached. The radio was off. My phone lay face down in the cup holder. Dead hours ago. The voice had not come from either. I glanced at the rearview mirror. For half a second, something moved in the back seat. Just a shift in shadow, as if someone had leaned forward and then settled back. The dome light flickered once, weak and yellow, then went dark. Hello. I whispered, hating how small my voice sounded. The car responded by stalling. The engine died mid-roll, leaving me coasting into silence. No wind now. No storm sounds. Even the forest seemed to hold its breath. Snow drifted slowly past the windshield, suspended like ash. My headlights stayed on. They illuminated something standing in the road ahead. At first, I thought it was a person. Then I noticed it wasn't moving, just swaying slightly as if hung there. A shape wrapped in something red. Fabric. Or, the voice returned, closer now. Right behind my ear. If you open the door, it said gently, almost kindly, you won't be alone anymore. The driver's side handle clicked on its own. And that's when I realized. I wasn't the first traveler to hear this voice. The first thing that came back was the cold. It seeped through the soles of my boots and climbed my legs in slow, deliberate fingers, as if the night itself had decided to touch me. I was sitting behind the wheel, hands still locked at 10 and 2, breath fogging the windshield in uneven bursts. The door handle had stopped moving. The voice was gone. For a long time, nothing happened. I didn't move either. I waited for the engine to cough back to life, for the storm to resume its howl, for anything normal to return. But the road remained frozen in a way that had nothing to do with snow. Even the trees looked paused, branches bent mid-sway like a photograph taken too late. I checked the dashboard clock. 12:17 a.m. Christmas Day. The date felt wrong, like something had slipped while I wasn't looking. I forced myself to breathe slowly and reached for the ignition. The key turned without resistance. The engine cranked once. Twice. Then nothing. No click. No whine. Just dead weight beneath the hood. Okay, I murmured, though there was no one to hear me. Okay. That was a lie. Everything in my body knew it. I looked back at the road ahead. Whatever had been standing there was gone. No footprints. No drag marks. Just untouched snow glowing weakly under the headlights. Red fabric, or whatever I'd thought I'd seen, had vanished like a trick of light. I told myself that's all it was. Exhaustion. A long drive. Too much caffeine and too many Christmas radio stations fading in and out before my phone died. I had left the city 6 hours earlier, chasing a promise I'd made out of guilt more than love. My sister's voice echoed faintly in my memory. Just come home this year. Please. She'd sounded tired. Not desperate. That was worse. The mountain road wasn't on any GPS route. An older coworker had suggested it with a shrug. Shorter. Prettier. No traffic. He hadn't smiled when he said it. I reached for my phone anyway, tapping the screen until my thumb hurt. Nothing. No signal. No battery icon. Just black glass reflecting my face. Pale, eyes too wide, mouth slightly open like I'd forgotten how to close it. That was when I noticed the silence wasn't complete. Something was ticking. Soft. Irregular. Like fingers tapping plastic. It took me a moment to realize it was coming from inside the car. The glove compartment. I stared at it, heart beginning to thud louder in my ears. The sound stopped the instant I focused on it. I waited. Counted my breaths. 10 seconds. 20. Nothing. Get out, I told myself. Check the engine. You're not doing this. My hand hovered over the door lock. The words from earlier crawled back into my head. Unwelcome and intimate. If you open the door. I swallowed hard and pushed the thought away. Voices didn't come from nowhere. Cars didn't stop because of whispers. Fear was creative. That's what my father used to say. Fear fills in blanks. I unlocked the door. The cold rushed in immediately, sharp enough to steal my breath. Snow crunched as I stepped out, the sound startling in the heavy quiet. The forest pressed close on both sides of the road, trees packed tight like an audience leaning in. My headlights carved a narrow stage between them, and I stood in the center of it, suddenly very aware of how small I was. I popped the hood. Nothing looked wrong. No smoke. No loose cables. The engine sat there, innocent and mute. I leaned closer, my breath puffing white, and that's when I smelled it. Not fuel. Not oil. Something sweet. Rotting. Like fruit left too long in a warm room. I straightened slowly. The smell wasn't coming from the engine. It was coming from behind me. I turned. The back seat light flicked on. I froze, half expecting to see a face reflected in the glass. There was nothing there. Just my overnight bag. A folded coat. The same empty seat I'd checked a dozen times already. Then the tapping started again. This time, it wasn't from the glove compartment. It was from the trunk. 3 slow knocks. Pause. 3 more. I stumbled backward, hitting the edge of the hood with my hip. Pain flared, sharp and grounding. No, I said aloud, saying it felt important. No. The knocks came again, closer together now. Insistent, as if whoever or whatever was inside was running out of patience. I backed toward the driver's door, eyes locked on the rear of the car. Snow crunched too loudly beneath my feet. Every sound felt like a signal. A mistake. Help! A voice called softly. It was wrong. Not distorted. Not monstrous. Just off. Like a recording played at the wrong speed. Please, it said. It's cold. My throat tightened. I shook my head. Tears burning unexpectedly at the corners of my eyes. You're not real, I whispered. You're not. The voice sighed. Oh, it replied, disappointed. But you stopped. The trunk latch clicked. Behind me, the driver's door began to close on its own. The first thing I noticed about the town was how silent it was. Not just quiet, but vacant in a way that made the snow seem louder than it had any right to be. Streetlights flickered weakly, throwing yellow halos across the slick asphalt. The small cluster of shops looked closed, though the windows were dusted with condensation that suggested life had been here recently. I tried the GPS again. Nothing. No signal. Not a flicker. Just a stubborn red no connection icon staring at me like a judge. I drove slowly down the main street, tires crunching over snow packed into ice. Houses were dark, but every so often, a curtain would twitch as if someone, or something, was watching me. I told myself that was impossible. People didn't watch strangers in deserted towns. Not at 1 a.m. on Christmas morning. Still, the feeling stayed with me, curling around my chest like ice, pressing in with every turn of the wheel. I parked outside a convenience store with dim green lettering. The door creaked in the wind. A bell jingled when I pushed it, though the place was empty. I thought I heard whispers. Hello. I called softly, almost embarrassed by my own fear. Nothing. I moved to the shelves, shaking slightly, trying to focus on something mundane. Chips, soda, holiday chocolate. That's when I saw it. A photograph pinned to a corkboard near the counter. A group of children. Smiling at the camera. The date scrawled at the bottom. December 24th, 1998. I frowned. Something about the picture made the hairs on my neck stand up. The children's eyes. Too sharp, too knowing. Like they were looking past the camera, into the soul of whoever was watching. A movement caught my eye. A man appeared behind the counter, older, hunched, coat caked in white frost. Can I help you? His voice was thin, trembling like paper in the wind. Yes. Car trouble, I stammered. Do you know if there's a mechanic around? He shook his head slowly. Not anymore. Not anymore. He sighed, shoulders slumping. This town, it doesn't have anyone. I glanced around. The shelves were stocked, but the air smelled of damp wood and decay. Then, people live here? He hesitated. Some. Not often. What happened here? He leaned forward slightly, voice dropping. You shouldn't be here. Not tonight. Not when the snow. It brings them back. I blinked. Them. His eyes darted to the photograph on the wall. Children. They wander sometimes. Never meant to leave, never meant to go. I laughed nervously. I think I'm tired. I don't. No, listen. His voice snapped. You don't understand. There's a road outside town. One wrong turn and it calls you. You hear voices. You think it's someone asking for help. But it's not. They follow. Always. And they wait. I wanted to shake him, demand clarity, but his gaze, sharp and unwavering, made me pause. Something about the way he looked. He wasn't warning me for effect. He meant it. The bell jingled again. I turned. A gust of wind rattled the door, and for a second I thought I saw a figure outside. Thin. Shrouded in red. Standing just beyond the parking lot lights. I blinked. Nothing. You shouldn't stay, the man said, voice almost a whisper. The travelers. They get lost. Snow covers their tracks. Roads twist. I swallowed. I need to get home. He shook his head. Not tonight. Not if it already chose you. I laughed again, though it was hollow like a cough. Chose me? Yes, he said simply. The snow doesn't forgive. It just waits. I left the store. The cold hit me like a slap, sharper than before. I paused at my car, hand on the door handle. My heart was pounding so hard I could feel it in my fingertips. The driver's seat was empty. That part one knew. But something inside me whispered, check the back. I hesitated. The wind made the trees sway with low, groaning moans. Snow drifted across the headlights. I leaned forward, peering in. Nothing. Still, the sense of being watched hadn't left me. It twisted tighter, like the coil of a spring. I gripped the door. My reflection in the glass didn't match me. For a split second, the eyes staring back weren't mine. They were blacker, wider, unblinking. I recoiled. Then the first whisper came. My name. Soft. Somewhere between the snow and the glass. I froze. Who's there? I said aloud, though I knew the answer wouldn't be simple. The whisper repeated, closer now. Come back. I stumbled inside, fumbling with the keys. The engine started on the first try. The heater roared. Warmth. Normalcy. For a moment, I dared to believe I was alone again. But the road twisted differently than before. Every turn looked familiar yet wrong, like I had driven here in another lifetime. Shadows clung to the tree lane, long and impossible. I noticed footprints along the snow, too small to be mine, too precise to be random. And they weren't just ahead. They followed, mirrored, alongside the tires, then vanished. I wanted to convince myself I was hallucinating. Exhaustion. Stress. Christmas travel. Then the first accident happened. A figure darted across the road, a child, pale and small. I slammed the brakes, tires skidding against ice. Heart in my throat. Nothing. The figure wasn't there. Just the imprint of tiny boots pressed deep into the snow, leading into the forest. I thought about calling someone. Anyone. But my phone remained dead. And then I remembered the man in the store, his words echoing through my head. The snow doesn't forgive. It just waits. I tried to shake the feeling. Tried to rationalize. But the road ahead twisted unnaturally, like it was stretching, bending, mocking me. Trees leaned closer, branches scraping against the car like fingers. I glanced at the rearview mirror. For a moment I thought I saw movement. Just a shadow. But it wasn't me behind the wheel. The whispers grew. Not one voice, but many. Low, overlapping, calling my name, pleading, laughing softly. Each voice sounded like it came from a different time, a different place. Some familiar, some alien. I thought about turning back, but there was no back. Every road I knew had disappeared, replaced by a snow-choked labyrinth. And that's when I saw the first house. Small, old, light flickering inside. Smoke from the chimney curling into the moonless sky. Windows shuttered. A single front door, cracked open just enough to let the warm, golden light spill onto the snow. I wanted to approach, to knock, to ask for help. And I almost did. But as I stepped forward, the whispers stopped. Silence fell. Heavy, impossible silence, broken only by a soft creak, the sound of the door swinging wide on its own. I froze, and then a single, small hand shot out from the darkness. Pale, thin, pressed against the edge of the doorway, beckoning me inside. I wanted to run, but I was already moving toward it. The house had swallowed me. Not the warmth, not the light, but the presence of something older, darker. Every step across the wooden floorboards made them groan, not with age, but as if they resented being disturbed. The hand that had beckoned me earlier was gone. In its place, silence so thick it pressed against my ears. I wanted to scream, to call out, but my voice felt foreign. My throat constricted, a dry rasp emerging instead. A shadow stretched across the far wall, elongated, impossibly thin. It wasn't moving, yet I knew it was aware of me. Watching. Waiting. Hello. My words were hesitant, trembling. The shadow shifted. A sound low and wet, like fingernails dragging over stone, echoed from somewhere behind me. My stomach dropped. I turned slowly. Nothing. Just the flickering lamplight, casting more shadows than it eliminated. A voice, soft but sharp, cut through the stillness. You shouldn't have come. I spun. No one. I told you, it whispered again, now in a chorus of tones, male and female, young and old. The snow. It doesn't forgive. My breath came in jagged bursts. Heart hammering. The floorboards groaned louder, reacting to some invisible weight creeping closer. The temperature dropped, though the hearth behind me burned low flames. My body shivered uncontrollably. Then movement. Small at first. A child appeared at the top of the stairs. Pale skin, hollow eyes. Dressed in rags tinged with red, smeared along the hem. The child tilted its head, watching. Come, it said, voice gentle. Too gentle. Wrong. I stumbled backward. The door behind me, the one I had entered through, slammed shut with such force it rattled the walls. My hands clawed at the handle. Locked. The shadow on the wall thickened, branching out like tendrils, curling toward me. Whispers swirled around my ears, indecipherable at first, then forming words I couldn't believe. You followed us. You're ours now. Panic surged. I ran up the staircase, 2 steps at a time, chest burning. The child was gone. Only the shadow remained, crawling along the walls, stretching and twisting unnaturally. It moved like liquid, yet faster than any liquid should, slithering toward me. I'm leaving, I shouted. My voice cracked. I'm leaving. The staircase shifted beneath me. Steps stretched into impossible lengths. I tried to leap, but the top never came. Each stride made me feel smaller, weaker, the air thicker. My vision blurred at the edges, darkening. Then the whispers stopped. A silence, deeper than anything I had known, fell. It was alive. Heavy. Waiting. And then a single figure appeared at the top of the stairs. Tall, impossibly thin, cloaked in shadow. Its face was mine. I froze. Why? I croaked. You brought yourself, it said, mimicking my own tone. Every word a mirror, every syllable my own voice, yet filled with something I could not comprehend. You always do. The walls of the house groaned and flexed, pulsing slightly, as if the building itself had lungs. The windows stretched, warping the world outside into something grotesque. Snow twisted into spikes, trees bent impossibly, the moon hanging low and red like a wound in the sky. I stumbled backward. My reflection in a cracked mirror revealed a face I barely recognized. Hollowed eyes, pale, lips split in a silent scream. A whisper tickled my ear. "You are not alone, but you're too late." The floor beneath me cracked. I fell through darkness, hands grasping air. A flash of red. A cold hand closed around my wrist. I screamed, voice bouncing off walls that didn't exist anymore. I hit the floor with a soft thud, but gravity felt wrong. The room stretched endlessly, corners receding into black. The child from the staircase appeared again, its face closer, eyes hollow pools reflecting a nightmare I couldn't name. "You can't run," it whispered. The voice was layered. Mine, theirs, someone else. I realized there were more shapes moving in the periphery, more figures shifting in the darkness, each one a twisted echo of a traveler before me. I scrambled upright, crawling toward a door that shimmered in and out of existence. It wasn't consistent. Sometimes a wall, sometimes a door. My hands passed through it like smoke. Panic burned hotter. I shouted, trying to remember the rational world, but the air itself seemed to swallow sound. I'm awake. This isn't real." A chorus of laughter erupted. Low, wet, overlapping. The shadows converged, swirling into a vortex around me. The child's hand gripped mine, icy and insistent. I tried to pull away, but it was like being trapped in water. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe properly. "Look," the voice hissed. "They wait. They always wait. And now you're part of the waiting." Images flashed in my mind, other travelers lost, their faces twisted in silent terror, their bodies trapped between snow and shadow. The man from the store, children from the photograph, strangers I didn't know. They all reached toward me, mouths opening but no sound coming out. I staggered backward, finally catching the edge of a table. It felt solid. Reality flickered. The shadows shrieked, a soundless wail pressing into my chest. My reflection appeared in a shattered window, twisting further, lips moving, whispering secrets I couldn't understand. I wanted to close my eyes, but fear pinned me. I wanted to scream, but sound betrayed me. The air itself felt alive, curling around my lungs, whispering my name, beckoning me to join the waiting. "Stop!" I yelled. And for a moment, just a moment, the chaos paused. The child stepped forward. Face now clear, human, impossibly familiar. And I realized it was my sister. Her face pale, cheeks hollow, eyes wide. I staggered back. "No. Faraz," she whispered. "You shouldn't have come. You know you shouldn't have." The shadows twisted violently, shrieking silently. The floor cracked beneath her feet. My sister's form flickered, replaced by a thin, long shadow that split, multiplied, extending along the walls and ceiling. Whispers became words, all at once. "The snow doesn't forgive. The snow doesn't forgive. The snow waits." I screamed, clawing at the nearest surface. My hands met empty air. The room stretched again. I could feel the pull, the inevitability. I tried to run, but the exit dissolved. The floor opened beneath me, the walls bent closer, suffocating. The voices merged into one. My voice, screaming, pleading, mocking. A figure loomed above me, taller than any human, shadow darker than night. Its eyes were black holes, endless. I saw myself reflected in them, older, hollow, lost forever. "You are ours now," it said. "Always." The air cracked with ice. My body froze. The world tilted, stretched, swallowed. I felt myself pulled upward, backward, into the endless cold, the waiting, the snow. My sister's face flickered in front of me one last time, whispering, "I tried to stop you." And then I was falling. I landed on the snow outside. Or maybe inside. I couldn't tell. The world was white, stretched, infinite. The wind howled, carrying whispers that were both mine and not mine. I saw figures in the distance. Lost travelers wandering endlessly, faces frozen in fear. I wanted to run to them, scream for help, but my legs didn't respond. Every step forward dragged like walking through thick tar. The child appeared again, this time closer. now clearly a fragment of me. Its lips moved, but no sound came out. Instead, a thought struck me. I've been waiting. You're late. A shadow rose behind it, spreading across the snow like an eclipse. My heart stuttered. Every instinct screamed. Turn, run, fight. But I was already too deep. Already part of the waiting. The snow swirled violently. The voices rose, overlapping into an unbearable roar that existed only in my mind. Faces, figures, eyes, all watching. Then the child smiled. Not warmly. Not humanly. Welcome home. The wind swept across me. I felt my consciousness splinter, a fragment leaving my body. I was falling, floating, disappearing. I realized I had become another echo, another shadow, another voice waiting for the next traveler. The snow settled. Silence returned. The road lay empty again. The headlights of a single car flickered in the distance, approaching slowly. And somewhere, deep beneath the snow and shadow, a whisper waited. Come back if you dare. The snow had returned to its quiet dominance. Not the loud, twisting wind of earlier. Not the whispering shadows, but the still, suffocating hush of a Christmas morning abandoned. I remember the headlights first. Far away, flickering weakly over the mountain road, like a memory someone had left behind. But I was not in the car. Not anymore. The town remained. The houses stood like empty teeth in a skeletal grin. No smoke from chimneys, no footsteps crunching over the snow. Just the faint glint of ice on rooftops and the long shadows stretching from barren trees. I tried to move, tried to speak, tried to reach out, but my body was gone. My mind lingered somewhere in between, a voice among voices. Far below, the road had returned to its usual ordinary appearance. Salted, worn asphalt cutting through the snowy forest. The way I had driven, the turns, the curves, the bends that had seemed endless, were gone. All that remained was the faint trace of tires, pressed lightly into the snow, vanishing within minutes as if nothing had passed this way at all. People came eventually. Travelers, locals, a few stragglers drawn to the mountain road by holiday misadventure. They stopped, puzzled, at the house. The door hung slightly ajar, just a crack, though the building had been abandoned for decades, or so the record said. No one ever entered. No one stayed. And yet, every so often, a faint cry, a whisper, a movement in the corner of vision would unsettle them, leaving questions unanswered. No one ever saw me. I became part of it. Part of the waiting. Part of the whispering chorus that greeted new travelers. A warning that could not speak its own name. A presence that could not leave. It began subtly at first. Other travelers would arrive, wandering off the main road, claiming GPS glitches, exhaustion, or the reckless faith in a shortcut that led them to the mountain pass. They never returned. Only faint tracks and the occasional echo of a voice in the wind betrayed their passing. Sometimes my sister appeared. Not in form, not solid, but in flickers at the corner of the road. I could see her watching, her face pale, her eyes wide with silent warning. I could not reach her. Could not warn her. Could only watch, helpless, as she passed by, oblivious to the danger that awaited her the following year, and the next. The locals whispered of the road, of the house, of travelers who never came back. They called it the waiting path, a cursed stretch of snow that consumed those who strayed after dark on Christmas Eve. Stories were hushed, vague, half told, half remembered. Yet every household had some memory. A cousin, a friend, a stranger, disappeared, never recovered. I began to understand. Not fully, of course, no one ever does, but enough. The snow was alive. The road was alive. The house was alive. They did not hunt. They waited. Patience was their ally. Inevitability their gift. Those who came were never chosen at random. They arrived because curiosity, exhaustion, guilt, love, any human frailty, had drawn them in. And once drawn, there was no escape. The first travelers I joined in the chorus were afraid. Their voices trembled when the next arrived, when I tried to warn them, tried to reach them. But I could only whisper fragments of memory. I could only tremble with recognition. They did not hear me. Not truly. Not until they were already part of it. Some nights, I thought I saw the faces of those who came before. Travelers from years past, fading slowly into the snow, their outlines indistinct but eyes wide with panic and recognition. They flitted at the edge of vision, half-formed, their cries merging into mine. We all waited. We all watched. We all whispered in warning and despair, knowing none of it could change what had already been set into motion. And then came the sound of footsteps, outside in the snow. I recognized them immediately. Hesitant, careful, human, warm, alive. The car appeared first, headlights weak in the gloom, tires crunching over packed snow. The shape of a figure behind the wheel was visible, hands clutching the steering wheel too tightly. I could hear the shallow breaths, the murmured prayers, the quiet hope that nothing was wrong, that they were alone. They were not alone. I followed from the shadows, drifting beside them, invisible, voice trapped in the chorus of waiting. The road twisted again as it always did, stretching beyond reason, looping, bending, mocking all sense of direction. I saw the first shadow appear, a thin, wavering shape in red, just at the edge of the headlights. They froze. I wanted to call out, to warn them, to scream, but all I could do was drift, whisper, tremble, watch. A child appeared on the road, pale, thin, eyes hollowed from too many years of watching, waiting. Hands reached out as if to guide, but not toward warmth or safety, toward inevitability. "Come," the child whispered, and I knew the truth. It was not guidance. It was invitation. One step, and the snow would claim them as it had claimed me. I felt the chorus stir around me, swelling, pressing, alive. Other voices joined, some familiar, some lost, some fading into nothingness. We sang in silence. Not maliciously. Not cruelly. Simply because it was our place. Our duty. Our waiting. The figure in the car tried to turn. Tires skidded. The snow shifted impossibly beneath them. For a heartbeat, they thought they could escape. They could not. The child moved closer. Footsteps silent. Breath cold, impossibly cold. The door opened, inviting, patient. And they stepped. And the road swallowed them. The headlights disappeared into the white, leaving the forest empty once more. Only faint tracks remained, pressed shallowly into the snow. They would vanish in minutes, erased as if they had never existed. I drifted back to the house. The windows reflected the pale, endless light of snow. The door stood slightly ajar, as it always had. Warm light bled across the ground, comforting and terrible. Inside, shadows waited. Whispers waited. And I waited too. I thought of my sister. Somewhere out there unaware. I had wanted to save her. Could not. Could not change what had begun. Could not undo the inevitability of the snow. Could only wait and whisper and watch. Time became meaningless. Minutes stretched to hours. Hours to days. Years blurred into snowstorms. Travelers arrived and disappeared, some aware, some oblivious. Each became part of the chorus. Each voice added to the weight of the waiting. And still the house remained. The road remained. The snow waited. Sometimes I thought I could hear my own voice in the wind outside the trees, calling someone, anyone, to stop, to turn back, to survive. But it was drowned immediately by the chorus, joined by others like me, trapped between snow and shadow, waiting for the next Christmas traveler foolish enough to stray from the path. I have become the echo. I have become the warning. I have become part of the inevitability I once tried to flee. And yet, even knowing what I know, I cannot stop watching. Cannot stop waiting. Cannot stop hoping, however faint, that someone somewhere might escape. But the snow, it does not forgive. And so it waits. For the next traveler. For the next story. For the next soul. And as the wind drifts silently through the pines, carrying whispers and faint laughter, I know one truth above all else. Some roads are never meant to be taken. Some Christmases are never meant to be survived. And some horrors are forever patient.